Hello everyone, welcome in our Trading Intraday with Pivot Points webinar on 13th of December. I apologize for the delay. There was a system error, so I couldn't really get in time. Just because before I start everything, we don't have any issues with the audio, right? And you can hear me, and you can see also our slides as well, right? Can just a quick yes and no in our question box will help a lot. Yes, great. Thank you everyone for the feedback. So just quickly, if you have any setting issue, audio or visual issue, just stick it in the box. I will try to help you as soon as possible. And also, if there is something that I don't manage to cover during the 1 hour webinar, don't hesitate to send it to webinars@hotforex.com. It's me and Stuart that we're handling that email, so we will reply to you as soon as possible, and we'll try to help you as much as we can. So, apologies for that. Okay, so just take the disclaimer out quickly. So this material is provided as a general marketing communication for informational purposes only. Nothing in this communication contains or should be considered as containing investment advice or an investment recommendation or solicitation for the purpose of purchase or sale of any financial instrument. We make no representation and assume no liability as to the accuracy or completeness of any information provided, and we shall not be held liable for any loss arising from any investment made based on the information provided in this communication. This communication must not be reproduced or further distributed without our prior written permission. Risk warning: trading Forex and CFDs may not be suitable for all investors and carries a high degree of risk to your capital. Trading such products is risky and you may lose all of your investment capital. So that's me. For people that are not know me, they have never attended to my webinars. I'm Andria Pichidi. I'm a market analyst here in Hot Forex. I'm a colleague of Stuart, our senior analyst. I'm sure that everyone knows Stuart. He's great. I had gained 5 years long studies in UK in mathematics and physics bachelor and a master degree in mathematics and a postgraduate diploma in actuarial science. It's been now a year, almost a year, since I joined a Hot Forex team, and my mission, and I believe our department's mission, me and Stuart, we are here to help you with everything you want. We can advise you, we will help you become better traders. We deliver a daily market reviews, either writing a report on an instrument or videos that you could watch in Stuart's Hot Forex Cowl Facebook site. So Stuart is going live daily, twice a day, the minimum, saying to you, analyzing the market. So this will help you a lot. It's good to visit our Facebook page, but also our analysis page as well, where we explain in detail why we enter short or long, on what we based our position, and etc. So it helps you understand the technical and fundamental analysis based on this reports. Sorry. So pivot points. Before we start, is anyone using pivot points? Is it aware of pivot points, what they are? And any one of you heard them before? I'm using it. Osama, great. So Osama is using it. Good. So there are people using it in this webinar. Good, that's great. So hopefully I will help you guys to in your trading with these tips that I put in this webinar. So what are we covering today? is of course pivot points, and mainly the intraday trading based on pivot points. So it's easy nowadays with the technology that we have. You can possibly find everywhere, guys, codes online for pivot points, or your MT4 already has and offers possible pivot points and plots them on your screenshot straight away. However, today we also see the maths behind the pivot points. Just for you, I will not hesitate on the mathematics of the pivot points, but it's good to mention them today because it will help you. It will help you understand the market and in general how the pivot points actually work. So I will mention them just for your own understanding, and also because we may have people that never used pivot points before. So I hope that after this webinar they will start using them. So what we are covering, we'll see what pivot points are, their characteristics, so why it is good to use the pivot points, why it is helpful for trading, any trade signals that they can provide you, how to use pivot points as support and resistance levels, because they are actually act like support and resistance levels, how effective support 1, 2, and 3 are, and resistance 1 and 2 and 3 are. Also, how to trade pivot points in multiple time frames, from monthly to a minute one. It might be the only tool, because pivot points considers a technical tool. It might be one of the few or the only tool that can be used in any time frame. Either you are a scalper, you can use it. Either you are a daily trader, you can use it. It's that simple. Is one of the few technical tools that can be used in any time frame, guys. That's why it makes it so successful and widely used by traders. So let's start our webinar with the basics. So firstly, we'll see what we consider as pivot points, as I already mentioned. Let's go. So the determination of pivot points. Also, don't hesitate to ask me anything you want during the webinar, okay? Don't worry, I have the question box next to me, so I'm watching your questions. So what pivot points are? Actually, there are some significant, very important levels that that are used in a technical analysis of the market. So they determine how the overall trend of the market over different time frames. It is actually, as I said, a technical analysis indicator, which could be used to help you identify the potential support or resistance levels, and based on that, you will be able to see to realize the overall trend of your pair, of your instrument, on every time frame that you're trading. So it's actually sorry. So as I mentioned over here, it's a predictive indicator because it gives you the potential, the future sentiment, market sentiment of the instrument. Also, that important significant levels that I'm pointing out upwards, the pivot points, there are also areas at which the price action may change. You might see a breakout, you might see a trend reversal. So there are levels that give us an alert on how the market possibly will move. So, as mentioned, it's based on mathematical formulas. It is simply the average, let's say, of the high, the low, and the closing price, either on a daily basis. So if you're a daily trader, so this formula, the pivot point that we want, is actually the sum of the high of the previous day, the low price of the previous day and the closing price of the previous day over 3. So we want the average of the high, low, and close price of the previous day. If you're an intraday trader and you have like a 4-hour chart, or let's say an hourly chart, this average implies to the previous 1 hour high, 1 hour low, and the closing 1 hour candle, the previous closing of the 1 hour candle over 3. So that's just, I mentioned that just for your own understanding of how this, why this technical tool gives you these values, on what formulas is based on. So you have to be aware, guys, that if there is an indicator, actually all the indicators are based in a mathematical formula, but because they are based in a mathematical formula, like pivot points are, this makes them completely objective. So that makes pivot points quite successful. So the fact that it's completely objective and it gives you clear pivot point levels, clear levels that you could trade on, you could use on your trading, that make them also very, very successful, because there are no emotions involved, nothing. It just gives you some levels and you have to follow the rules of it. Also, is a technical indicator that is widely used. If I'm not saying the whole market is using pivot points, it's the 80–90% of the traders are using pivot points, and this is important because since it is used widely, everyone end up working, because everybody is expecting them to react in the same way at these specific levels. So most of the traders place their buy or sell order at those levels that the pivot point points them. So at the end it works due to that, because everyone are expecting for the price to hit that specific levels. So let's continue. Let's see why further on the characteristics of pivot points and why it is essential to use them. So here I try to put in a bullet point some of the characteristics of pivot points and the reason for using them in detail. The most important, in my opinion, and I think you will agree with me as well, the most important reason for using pivot points is, first of all, the fact that you can predict before the market opens. So the fact that you can start your day without worrying that you are not prepared for the day ahead, because simply, as we saw in the formula, the pivot points indicate, it gives you some levels for the next day. So it takes into consideration the values of the previous day. Let me bring the formula back to, so it takes into consideration the values of the previous day in order to give you some level for your next day trading. So you're prepared. You don't have to go through quickly all your charts, because you have already have your pivot points on your charts. So you know, you don't have to hassle checking the charts one by one, because you have your pivot points on, so you know the levels that you want to trade with. So once those levels are triggered, you know how to enter and when to enter the market without hassle. So its predictive nature, let's say, gives you also the clarity and the confidence when you're trading. So as we said, no emotion, no second thoughts, no guess. This is simply because they are completely objective. It's a completely objective technical tool. So you just need to trade on the direction the pivot analysis points you. So you will never go short, let's say, on a buying pivot or long on a sell pivot. So as we said, it gives you clearly what transaction you will do for the day. And I will show you that in an example, and you'll see how clear signals give to you, either intraday ones or either long-term ones. So that's the very positive thing that pivot points offer. Also, yes, I already mentioned that they can be adjustable to any time frame, and also it can be combined with any other technical indicators. Just stick in the box which is your favorite technical indicator. For me, let's say it's stochastics. What about you? Just stick in the box. The first one that the one that you're using every single time. Is it RSI? Is it MACD? What are you usually using, guys? Oh, Osama is using a naked chart. So I suppose how you actually know when to enter. What triggers your entry, Osama? Juliano is using moving average, the same as me. That's good. Moving average are very good in any time frame as well. RSI, good. No indicator except pivots and candles. Yeah, candles also always show signals. Either they are body or they are wicks. Give us a clue. Give us an alert. Candlestick patterns, great. Horizontal lines, MAs, trend lines, all great. That's all great. So Osama is using horizontal lines and trend lines. So I assume that trend lines is, by saying trend lines, you're more a trend trader. Even if you're a trend trader, you sometimes see a channel, a trend channel, an upwards or something. Everything that you're using can be combined with pivot points, because you can have your pivot points plotted in your chart, and you could gain the further confidence that you're looking for, the further clarity that you're using for, from your other indicators. Either they are horizontal lines, either they are moving average, either they are wedges. So the combination of two, pivot points and another indicator, gives you confidence. Give you confidence that, okay, these pivot points are in agree with my RSI or etc. So I have the confidence I could enter. So it gives you confidence, as I said. And also, guys, one of the most important things, it identifies a trend. It can also identify a trend reversal or a breakout areas. So that actually helps you to stop out before things get worse. So we are not always 100% right. Market goes up, down, sideways. It's quite unpredictable sometimes. So pivot points, in the case of a trend reversal, or I don't know, a news have been released and our pair was so volatile, so pivot points can help you to stop before your trading gets worse. So to minimize your risk or to minimize your losses, because as I said, we are not always gainers. We have some some positions that end up wrong, end up losing. The important is to end up our week, our month gaining and not losing, and not like 60% loss, 40% gain. It must be the vice versa. We must always try to recover. So it's not bad thing to have some losses, as long as you end up your month in profit. So it minimizes the risk. It gives you a signal when to exit. So it can be used also as an entry and exit alert, let's say. So just quickly, I'll go through the formulas again. So we have what we have. We have the pivot point for the current trading. In shortcut is a PP. So it's the level at which the market change between bullish and bearish. So sorry, I have a typo over there. So between bullish and bearish is where we see our instrument consolidating between around this pivot point. So that's the current pivot point. Also, pivot points give us three supports usually. All the technical indicators, pivot technical indicators give us usually three, but with the formulas you can create your own support and resistance levels if you want more than three, more than what the technical tool gives you. You can. It's very easy to calculate it yourself. So the pivot points give us the current pivot point, three support and three resistance levels. So our first potential support is support 1. Our first initial resistance support is R1. Then we have the second possible resistance level, the second possible support level, and the third, etc. So how it's calculated is just the first resistance level is double the pivot point that we calculate above minus the low of the previous day or the previous hour, depending on your time frame. Because the pivots are associated with support and resistance. We need those support and resistance because we will use them as possible targets or support levels in our entry. So simple as that. Support level, the first support level is double the pivot point minus the previous high of the day. So the same, I will not go through, I will not spend time on the rest of the equation. Is simply these formulas. So you can take them, you can try it yourself, just quickly, like take dollar CAD or Euro USD and try to see, do the calculation yourself and see if your indicator, the pivot point indicator, gives you the same results. It should, guys, it should give you exactly the same results. So as I said, it gives you the tool gives you three levels, but you can go beyond that. You can also calculate resistance 4. So let's say resistance 4 is again the pivot point minus support 3, so that there's support, plus the resistance 3. So it's the same way of thinking. Another thing that I didn't mention in the characteristics of pivots is the fact that it gives you a minimum 2-to-1 reward and risk ratio. Okay, that depends on your entry point, of course, but it's a good result, guys. It gives you double reward than what you risk. If you enter on time and you don't hesitate, and it gives you the minimum double of what you're risking, and that's another characteristics that make the pivot point so successful. Also, something that I forget to mention is that pivot points work very, very well either in bonds, shares, but also in currency pairs. They work perfectly for everything. The only thing that you have to have in mind is that, as we said, is based on since Forex is a 24-hour market, the calculation of the next day is based on New York closing. So that's about 9 o'clock GMT time. So it's just something to have in mind if you are in a different time zone. So it's based on the closing, New York closing. So the most of the pivot points indicators are calculating the pivot points based on that, or there are some of them calculating the pivot points at midnight. But in my point of view, the most accurate one is on New York closing. So Osama has a question. How strong is the pivot point set on London opening? You mean that you put your pivot points during the London Open, or you mean that okay, yeah. No, that doesn't matter, Osama, because let's say, let me bring up my MT4 in. So that's my MT4. Let me get rid of the pivot I already had a pivot point in. Sorry, you can see my MT4, right? So over here, if I drag and drop pivot points in, or even if I calculate one, now I'm in London session. New York is way back, is later on in 2 hours time, 3 hours time. So these values are based on the previous day. So on New York closing last night. So it doesn't matter if you put them now, if you put them in the morning, it's the same values because they are based on the previous, just the previous day. So the same goes for 4-hour one, hourly ones. So it doesn't really matter when you will drag and drop your pivot points in your chart. Sorry, did I miss something? Osama, if I didn't understand well your question, what I mean is if you change the timing of the pivot point hour calculation. Yeah, it automatically change. So it gives to every single time frame. Also, Geoffrey, hot forex have pivot points. Yes, they have. It's something new. So if you are in the hot forex side, you will see our premium trader tools that we have just released. This is a brand new tool. So if you download this tool, guys, it comes along with MT4 indicator package. So it gives you a hot forex indicator for Renko bars, pivot points, chart grouping, highs and lows, and etc. I think it's around 15 new indicators. That's over here in my screen. If you see my MT4, all of them over here. So there are pivot points. I think the colors that we are using gives you it gives you clear levels, pivot point levels that you can use in your trading. So it's a very good tool to be used. So I have another question. Don't open. Osama, what I mean is if you change the timing of the pivot hour calculation from New York to London open, which time frame are you referring to? Daily? It's daily. Then it's where the day close, which is at midnight. So again, it's not during London Open. London Open's at not the day close. So you are an intraday trader. So you're taking an hourly or 4-hour candles, let's say. So you just have to take your previous your last candlestick and use the high, low, and close price of that one. So okay, London Open. Let's see. So I have over here. You can see my chart. So actually, I have an example to show you. So let me Okay, so let's say that you're a 4-hour trader, and let me, okay, so I am in a 4-hour chart, let's say. Let me take this out of my charts, delete that. Okay, so I'm a 4-hour trader. This is the 12 o'clock candle. So in order to calculate my pivot points, I have to take the low, high, and close price of the previous candle. So that would be up 151.28 for the high, 150.94 for the low, and 151.25 for the closing, over 3. So the average of all these 3 values in order to have during the London Open, let's say that you're referring to the pivot point values that I want. So I want them. So you want them before London opens. So just simply take the last values before London Open. It's just how it is the way it works. No, you don't have to calculate yourself, Grace. So there are, as I said, technical indicators. We have actually list one, a hot forex pivots, but also we have an online calculator, pivot points calculator you can find in the website. So if, let's say, you want more than 3 resistance or 3 support levels, you want to know the 4th one as well, or you can use quickly the pivot points calculator. You can stick in the prices, the 3 prices, the high, low, and close, either in the last hours one, it's either the 4-hour one or the 15-minute one. So you just stick them over here. You also type the current open price, and it automatically calculates you the pivot points and the 4 resistance and 4 support levels, either on the standard calculation, or also there are other pivot points such as Woody's pivot points, Camarilla pivot points, Demark pivot points. However, what I'm covering today in our webinar is the standard one, which is the floor pivot points. So you don't really have to do it yourself. Don't worry about it. You either using the pivot point calculation online, or just the indicators of pivot points that gives you straight the values of the pivot points. So here I have an example. So I used over here dollar CAD in a 4-hour one. So that was, I took that screenshot yesterday. So by plugging in my technical indicator, it gave me those 7 points, 3 resistance, 3 supports, and a pivot point. So I wanted to make sure that it gives me the right levels, and that was indeed the case, because I calculated myself. I used the open, high, and close price, and I end up with 1.2851 as a current pivot point, and 3 support and resistance levels for this dollar CAD pair. So as you can see over here, the difference between my resistance, my first resistance, and the first support is around 38 pips, while the difference between the first support and the second support is 21 pips. So that gives us a quite high risk and reward ratio of nearly double reward than risk. This is just an example to show you that indeed gives a good risk and reward ratio. And also it is an do it yourself and see your risk and reward as well, to see how much your risk is getting back. So let me Osama, hopefully I I reply your query. But we'll see examples, so don't worry about it. We'll see examples in MT4. So we're just going through the theory of it. So, as I mentioned, they're considered to be successful since they're completely objective. So here we have some stats. I took that stats from Investopedia. It's based on statistics to see whether support and resistance in the pivot points are actually accurate ones, or how accurate they are. So here is an example of euro dollar since inception up to 2006. So based on these statistics, they have calculated pivot points of support 1 and resistance 1, and they which are actually a decent code of the actual high and low of the day. So by calculating the numbers of day that the low was lower than each support, that support S, that's the first support, second support, and third support, and the number of days that the high was higher than R1, R2, and R3, we end up with this result. So this information is quite useful for you, because you can see that if you know that the pair, let's say, like in the first one, the actual low has been lower than support 1 892 times, or 44% of the time. So that means, guys, that you know that 44% of the time the pair slips below support 1. So you can place a stop below S1 with confidence. So because the probabilities are on your side. Or additionally, you may want to take profit just below resistance 1, because you know that the high of the day exceeds resistance 1 only 42% of the time. So again, the probabilities are on your side. So it's important to understand actually how these probabilities and uncertainties work. So on average, this is the probabilities, let's say, that have been gaining a euro-dollar investigation. So it's good to have the probabilities on your side, and it gives you, as I said, confidence on your trading. So the power in this information that I gave you, this example, is the fact that you confidently caught potential support and resistance ahead of the time. So you have a reference points to place your stops, your limits, and most importantly, it limits your risk. It minimizes your risk while putting yourself in a position for profit. So let's continue. So as we already mentioned, pivot points act like potential support and resistance, and this is the way that we must treat them. So the more times a pivot point is reached, it's obvious that the stronger the pivot point is. So the stronger support or resistance is. If it's not breaking, it's hit too many times, then it's a strong pivot point. So if resistance holds, then this is a sell opportunity with a stop loss above your resistance. If your support holds, then this can be considered as a buying opportunity with stop loss below support. So this you could behave this support and resistance as possible targets or reversal points. And also you have to have in mind that usually, most of the times, based on the probability and the stance behind that, the price usually bounces between support 1 and resistance 1. And if the market is very, very, very volatile based on news or something else, then it breaches also support 2, support 3, or resistance 2, resistance 3. So yes, I will go to practical examples. So, okay, before we set the rules, let's actually I'll go through the rules because this will be they will be used in our practical examples. So let's go back to our chart. I will bring in the Euro card. Sorry, just a second. Had a very good example. So we have hopefully this is are these lines, you can see all the lines, right? If you have any problem, let me know. Can you see the support and resistance lines and the pivot points? Okay, great. So this is an example for dollar CAD in an hourly basis. So yesterday, let me put the vertical lines just to focus on yesterday, just to see example of it. So yesterday was between these levels over here. So the blue one is the current pivot point, while the above lines, the red ones, are the resistance, resistance 1, resistance 2, and resistance 3, and the green ones are support 1, support 2, support 3. So at the beginning of the day, our dollar CAD or loonie was consolidating above, slightly above, let me zoom in, you see, was slightly above the dollar CAD. However, it broke it at some point at 7 o'clock, and then it continued. Okay, now I think now it's better. So we have seen going pivoting around the current current pivot point was like going up and down and returning to pivot point. However, at this point we saw a quite full bearish candle breaking the pivot point area, the current pivot point, the blue line, and continuing downwards, hitting also our first support. So that's a clear bearish momentum. So once you have seen that the pivot point, the price action broke the pivot point downwards, and then you have to combine it with another signal. As you can see, another signal could be that it broke also your moving average and it closed below the recent low prices. So that could be, this area could be a good entry point, a good sell opportunity with potential support, with potential targets in support 1 or even support 2. And that was the case. So you see, it broke pivot, it opens below that, it continued downwards, breaking the last low prices, breaking the recent lows, and with an RSI below 50. So that's why it's good to combine pivot points with another indicator or some other signals, either just the bodies of the candlestick or candlestick patterns or RSI or fractals. It's up to you. All the indicators that I have over here, the fractals, or just stick on the candle of the body of the candle, which it was full. If you see, this too was a full bearish body candles, give us a confidence on a bearish momentum, on a downwards momentum. So you could enter the market short in this area. Even if you waited for if you weren't sure, there were 6 consecutive down sessions confirming the downwards momentum. So how many candles in average would you say show the support or resistance is holding? we cannot say like 10 candles or 20 candles. It holds a support if you see that it was hit many times and never broke, and then it reversed above support. So let me give you let me find an example of it. Maybe if I go to a 15 minutes one. So let me see. So okay. Cannot really find a very good one, but if you check here, okay, we are again in the dollar CAD in a 15 minutes one. I just put the 15 minutes one to show you how you could identify a support level. So our pair is in a downtrend. It managed to broke the first support and it went further down to support 2. However, in this point, it hit a support. It didn't manage to close below the support, so it ended up closing above our support 2 and then reversed upwards, and it was keep moving above support. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 many, actually you can see it continued for a lot of candles, the upwards movement. So that's a support that was never broke. Or in the vice versa, let's say in a resistance area, this one considered be a strong one because it was hit at 1 2 3 4 5 no 1 2 3 4 times, but never broke. The pair never managed to broke above that, never managed to close above that. So that's a strong support because it was hit many times, but the pair didn't manage to go above that and reversed lower. So there is not a certain amount of candles. It's just you just need to check whether it managed to break it and continue below that. So if the support one over here does not consider be a strong support because it was hit and break and the price moved below that for many consecutive sessions. So this is not a strong support. However, support 2 is quite strong because it was hit but never break. You see, once it was hit, then the pair reversed and went upwards. Maybe this is not a great example, but I think I have one in the cable chart, if I'm not wrong. Is it the one? Oh, so let's see. Yeah, that would be a good one. Okay, so sorry, that's very zoom in. So we have cable for the day. In a 15 minutes chart or 30 minutes chart, it doesn't really matter, but you can see that our current pivot point is at 133.32. So it tried to reach it once, twice, 3, 4, 5, 6 times, reversed lower. It didn't manage to break it until today morning at 11 o'clock, which is it broke that strong support of the day, strong resistance of the day, sorry. It broke it with this big candle and continue moving above that. So that was up to this level, it was a strong support. However, later on, strong resistance, sorry. However, later on, it broke that resistance level. So will you go long on this use? How many can, so I can, okay, so let's see. However, before I go to another example, just to give you an idea how the rules that you have to mind in a short and a long position when you're using the pivot points. So it's not exactly rules, but it is the logic thing to do once you're using pivot points. Is the way you could treat them. So for short positions, if you will go short, you will see a sell opportunity if you identify a bearish momentum at your pivot points. So what I mean by that is a break of your pivot points downwards. So that's a sell opportunity. And a break of the pivot points can be either a break of the current pivot point or the resistance levels. So in that case, you will put your stop loss above resistance level or at recent swing high, while the initial take profit level should be placed in the next pivot point level. So if price, that's an example, if price is moving below second resistance, then your target, your first target should be resistance 1. So let's see that in MT4. So it will help you. So let's find sorry, let's find the sell opportunity. Dollar yen, maybe dollar yen. Where's my dollar yen? Dollar yen. So sorry for that. Oh, sorry. So okay. Okay, I didn't manage to find an example exactly like the one I wrote, but let's see dollar yen in a 15-minute chart. You can see that it broke the pivot point at this area over here. Let me zoom it in. So my pivot point is at 113.54. My pair today is moving below that. So, and it broke also the first support. So once you have seen that big this break of first support, you're looking for another signal, something that gives you confidence on your trading. You could either, in this case, you could either use the body of the candle. It's a very strong candle. So this very strong bearish candle gives you confidence to enter short. So in this case, you can enter the market short using target the next pivot point, which is support 2. So it indeed hit that level. So if you had seen that break of first support, then you can enter the market short with the first target being your next support level, which in this case is support 2, while your support in your entry, the support level in your entry should be above your recent resistance level or at the recent swing high, which in this case, let me take off Bollinger Bands because it might confuse you. So in this case, if you enter at this point over here, or somewhere over here, you saw that break of the fractals, of the low fractals. So you could use the support, you could use a support either this level, which is our pivot point over here, or you could use this swing high, which was at 133.50. So you could use that, the swing high, as a support level and target at support 2. So you want, so let me, you will, so HF pivot indicators display the previous pivots. Let us say they place the last 3 days at the same time. Yeah, there is a default also pivot point. If you a pivot point in MT4, which displays the whole, you see, displays. Let me up. Sorry. It displays all the history of your instrument. However, I find this quite messy. But yeah, you could use it. It's on MT4. If you go to your chart, sorry, not charts, it's in the insert, go to your indicators and the custom, the pivot indicators are over here and can be used either if you want to use them only for the day, I mean an intraday example, so you want to present only the pivot points of the day, or if you want to see also so that's for today, let's say. That gives for the day. But if you want to see also the previous days, the previous performance of the instrument, you can also see that using the pivots indicator over here. So we have two of them. So it's up to you. So I assume, Godfrey, that you are a daily trader and you want to see the performance and the last, or you're a long-term trader, so you want to see at least the last 3 days at the same time. But for an intraday trader, I think it gets the charts get very messy. So it's good to have only the pivot points of the day, like this one, and going from 4-hour ones, hourly ones, minutes ones, and etc. Also, let's have a look on the long position scenario. So you will go long, you will be confident on getting a long position if you identify a bullish momentum at the pivot points that you have. So if the price breaks above your pivot points, that's a buying opportunity. So as I said, if you combine it with another indicator, it can gives you the same signal. Then this is a clarity of your gives you clarity on your trading. So you could, in this situation, you could place your stop loss below the initial support level at the recent swing low, while the take profit level should be placed at the next pivot point level. So let's say an example of that. If you enter long at support 2, then the target should be at support 1, the initial first target. And the support could be close to the recent swing low, or the next support level. So let's see that in an example. So, dollar CAD, I think. No. Okay. Okay. So in this case, over here, as you can see, the pair holds a support at the pivot point, and the current pivot point over here, and broke above the 20 period moving average in a very strong bullish candle in continuous upwards. So in that case, you can enter long your trade with potential target at resistance 1, while your support can be either placed below the recent swing lows, which are this one, or even lower in your next pivot level, which is of course S1. If you're a very short intraday trader, then you can use just the support to be below your current pivot point over here, and your targets to be either on the support areas or just slightly below that, just for a confidence. So it's up to you, it's up to your trading style. So display 3 days daily pivots. So I mean, in my hourly chart, I would like to display 3 days daily pivots. That's fine. It's like our dollar cut example that we showed. Sorry, so you see, I'm in an hourly chart, and I can see up to, if I minimize as well, I could see up to 7th of December. Or even if I minimize again, it goes back to the 1st of December. So you see, even in an hourly chart, you can see the performance of the previous days. So where can we get the full pivot points on the MT4? So everything is in the insert, tab in your indicators. So it's over here. You'll find it over here. Okay. However, as I said, the hot forex pivot has to be downloaded from the website first, and to be saved in your the MT4 data folder, in order for you to be able to see it and choose it in this custom list. So you can see it over here. So we run out of time. It was so that's the end of our webinar, guys. Before I end up our session, please ask whatever you want. I will stay here to reply to you. So if I think I replied to everyone up to now. However, if there is something that I didn't answer, let me know. Just stick it in the box right now. I will wait for a few seconds before I close our session. I would like firstly to thank you for your interest and for watching my webinar. And I'd like also to inform you the December's webinar, the future one. So we have tomorrow indicator crossover. Every Tuesday we have a live analysis with Stuart. However, because it's the end of the year, the last live analysis for December will be on Tuesday. So it's good for you to attend and ask for anything you want, any instrument and analysis that you want in a particular pair. Stuart will be here to help you. Also, we have alternative indicator strategies on 20th of December with Stuart again. Another seminar will be on 21st on how to use support and resistance levels to trade Forex. And also I will give a review of the year for the Forex markets on 27th of December. And there is a very last of the last webinar for the year on emotion control in Forex by Blue Sky. That's our webinars for the day. Also, Busimozu, we always recording the sessions, so you will receive as soon as I end up the webinar, you will receive a link with the YouTube recording, so you could watch again the webinar. Sorry, Giuliano, again, where can you download the indicator? Please, on Hot Forex Tools. So you will, let me stick in the website in, so you go to our website, and on the Tools tab, you can find the Premium Trader Tools. It's a brand new tools. There are many tools there that you can use. have a look at yourself. They are very useful tools. Some of them gives you the opportunity to enter quick in the market, so just have a look of them. However, more precisely for the indicator package and the pivot one is the last one that you can see on your screen. You click on the learn more and you can download them over here. There is a download now session. However, you have to be logged in your in the my hot forex area in order to be able to download them. So you have to log in to get that indicator. And I think there are some terms and conditions that you have to meet. So that's pretty much for me. Since I have seen that there are no further questions, that's the end of the session. Thank you for watching, and hopefully I helped you with pivot points as much as I could. Thank you for watching, guys. Have a nice trading day for the rest of the day. Bye bye.